Hi, I'm Allison. If you're living with herpes and stumbled upon this video in hope of finding ways to manage yourself of your debilitating herpes infection, you've come to the right place. What if I told you that you can have your old life back? What if I told you you no longer have to take expensive medications like Zovirax, Famver, Valtrex on a daily basis? What if I told you that there is a way to naturally and holistically treat herpes in your body? What if I told you you no longer have to worry about untimely outbreaks and the embarrassing effects it has on your social and love life? Those are some pretty big ifs, right? Perhaps so, but hear me out. Let me ask you this. If you're currently living with herpes, what would it mean to you if you never have to worry about another outbreak, have a fulfilling sex life, renewed health and vigor, have more confidence and self-esteem, be happier than you ever thought possible, have more sex appeal, control your herpes, and start living your normal life again? Would you quickly dismiss them as lies and continue living with herpes as well as taking antiviral medications indefinitely? Or would you rather invest a couple of minutes of your time and hear me out? Would you put a price tag on that? It's only natural to be skeptical. I know I was. You see, I was a former sufferer of herpes myself. When you're first infected by herpes, the general belief is that the herpes simplex virus type 2, HSV2, is not going anywhere. You're stuck with it for life. It's like you're stuck behind bars for the rest of your life, and there's not much you can do about it. Believe me, I know what you're going through. This virus conveniently decides to permanently settle down and nest inside your body, attaching itself to the nerves that are located at either end of your spine to make it that much tougher to be forced out of your body. If you are one of the millions of people that are currently living with herpes, then your doctor has more than likely told you time and time again that you will never be able to get rid of it, and that you're doomed to a lifetime of costly antiviral medications and their dangerous side effects. What's more, those expensive and unsafe drugs only serve to contain the symptoms while practically ignoring the root cause of herpes itself. Doctors basically have led you to believe that herpes is going to own your body for the rest of your life, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Even though it may seem as if this is factual, it can also be up for debate. I mean, what's the point of going to the doctor's office if they don't believe they can treat you in the first place, let alone with a natural, safe, and inexpensive care? I, too, was faced with the no-cure argument years ago, shortly after my initial infection. It was the day my faith in conventional medicine fell apart. I simply refused to accept that fact and then started on a mission of getting real answers and ultimately healing. Since then, I've been an avid natural researcher of homeopathic remedies and herbal medicine for years. I've always used natural remedies opposed to traditional medical treatments whenever possible. While many mainstream doctors still scoff at the idea that homeopathic natural healing could actually work, my years of research finally gave me the answers I needed to treat herpes for good. After stumbling and applying this life-changing discovery, my herpes has not reappeared once, something that those expensive and unsafe conventional treatments failed to do. Since I know what it's like to suffer from the ordeal, allow me to share my life-changing discovery with you and all the people unfortunate enough to suffer under the same condition as you and I. Allow me to help you. My name is Allison Freeman, and this is my story. I am not, nor have I ever been, a sexually promiscuous person. I'd been divorced for 3 years after I found out that my ex was involved in an extramarital affair. The worst part, he left me with more than just a broken heart. I was diagnosed with type 2 herpes. I was stunned, angry, emotional, and plain devastated. Of course, I have heard of it before, but I never thought in a million years that I would ever be exposed to something like that. I had small cold sores in the past, very rarely, So technically, I already had type 1 herpes. But now I was scared. I was a newly single woman just getting over a rough patch in my life as it was, and now this? Emotionally, it took what felt like forever to accept that I actually had genital herpes. I knew there was no cure, and that there was little I could do to cope with it. It made me feel helpless. If you have herpes, you might relate. But here I was, finally starting to work up the nerve to date again and get on with my life, only to find out I had herpes. Needless to say, I wasn't too eager to start meeting new people after hearing that. I was first prescribed with acyclovir, and for a while it worked. But it wasn't long before I started noticing that apart from the sores, acyclovir also made me lose hair. A lot of it. I freaked out and frantically asked my doctor about it, and he confirmed that this was just one of the many side effects of acyclovir, heavy hair loss. Since I didn't want to lose more hair, I begged my doctor to prescribe me something else. He then put me on Valtrex, but it too apparently had its side effects. It made me experience extreme headaches, nausea, and vomiting. I couldn't focus on anything. The side effects were just too severe. It made me feel really sick. I had to stop taking them, as I simply couldn't deal with the side effects. And once I stopped taking them, naturally, the sores came back with a vengeance. My life is over, I thought to myself. After suffering for what seemed like an eternity, I finally decided to take matters into my own hands. I started my personal mission of getting real answers and ultimately caring the right way. I eventually took a distance education course I had been previously interested in taking online, related to homeopathy. 3 months into my course, I was required to complete an assignment on influential doctors in alternative systems of medicine. Throughout my research, I decided to write about a 2-time Nobel Prize-winning doctor who was known for discovering that viruses can only thrive in low-oxygenated bodies. It turned out that this Nobel laureate was disappointed with major pharmaceutical companies. Apparently, those big pharmaceutical companies aren't really interested in a resolve. They haven't been working all this time to find a treatment, but simply to push their overpriced and inefficient drugs to the general masses. They prey on our sickness, and that's the reason why this herpes treatment method hasn't been known to the general public, despite being decades old. In the U.S., for example, they spend $61,000 on each doctor to get them to push their drugs, and this is common everywhere. And it's common knowledge that big companies would do everything in their power to keep this type of information from becoming widespread. It would threaten their precious trillion-dollar industry simply because the treatment to naturally and holistically control herpes is inexpensive and cannot be patented. Something I discovered entirely by accident. Something that was purely astounding. And nobody ever told us? Did today's doctors know about this? Was the government hiding this from us so that they would continue to profit from the millions and trillions of dollars profited by people just like me, who are suffering from so-called non-curable viruses that were preventing them from leading normal lives? After several weeks of intense research, I had become my own doctor in every meaning of the word. Until now, I had never believed that there was anything that would ever control my herpes properly. I have been an herbalist studying natural medicine for almost my entire adult life. And although I have seen some wonderful results using herbal remedies, nothing I have ever seen has ever or will ever compare to this miracle substance used that is dirt cheap to effectively control herpes. So after learning about how this herpes treatment worked, I decided to administer this amazing 1-minute therapy on myself. Starting to see the big picture here? We now live in an age where we are exposed to more human-made toxins and chemicals than ever before. Oftentimes, waging chemical warfare in our bodies to fight infection is not the best solution. That's exactly the reason why the Nobel laureate started to research natural treatments in the first place. He knew that herpes isn't a new sickness. Our ancestors had been treating herpes since 2,000 years ago. In addition, there are other reasons why we should think twice before taking or consuming conventional or mainstream medicine. As previously mentioned, mainstream medicines were never designed to fully treat you. They were meant to only mask and hide the signs of the disease, to permanently entrap us in the never-ending cycle of outbreaks and treatments. But believe it or not, those herpes sores serve a role. They are indicators that there's something wrong with your body, and hiding or masking the signs instead of addressing the root cause is never a good idea. The antiviral drugs used in conventional treatments function as suppressive agents, meaning they undermine your health. It can even cause other diseases to flourish inside your body because suppressive drugs also suppress your immune system, thus leaving the door wide open for other infections. For me, this is unacceptable. I was determined to find a safer way which addresses the root cause. Months into my research, I made an astonishing discovery. As mentioned previously, the herpes virus isn't a recent phenomenon. It's been known for more than 2,000 years, and our ancestors had treated it countless times before. So why haven't I heard about it before then, I hear you ask? Well, a company that's now part of a $60 billion pharmaceutical giant, as well as an extended field study in Hungary, both proved it effective at controlling the herpes virus. They haven't really given a reason why they never released it on the market, and let me tell you why that's the case. The natural substances utilized in the 1-minute herpes care program cost much, much less than acyclovir, and they cannot be patented. A similar study occurred in the early 90s. The New York University Medical Center proved the efficiency of another substance against herpes. Again, the cost of the substance is only a fraction of acyclovir. Naturally, big pharmaceutical companies decided to ignore it. They only have one objective: make money by selling overpriced and ineffective drugs. A complete and holistic care was never their intention because they can't put a patent on it. They only want to profit from our sickness. That's the honest-to-God truth. Fortunately, you don't have to endure this situation any longer. There's an alternative approach to control your herpes, and it's already helped thousands of herpes sufferers just like you escape frequent outbreaks and the debilitating effects they have on your life. People like Rihanna D. from the United Kingdom, or Mike S. from Miami, and Marilyn G. from Ontario. Now, I'd like to help you. The 3 simple steps of 1-minute herpes care I developed and applied works not only for these people, but for everyone who tried it as well. Currently, it has helped literally thousands of people control the virus in their lives, for good. Moreover, the method is so simple and inexpensive, it's practically free. You see, the very element which is required by all humans in order to live is also the secret to treat herpes holistically. Instead of masking the symptoms and medicating yourself, my method will allow you to start addressing the root cause by creating a place where herpes virus simply becomes weakened, therefore attacking the disease effectively. Therefore, I advise you to learn this simple yet extremely effective herpes therapy as soon as possible. I desperately do not want that to happen because I so badly want everyone who is going through what I did to use this and have their herpes be an easy thing to control. So, if I so badly want to help you, why am I charging you for this information? Well, that's something I thought long and hard about. Even went as far as contacting my lawyer friend and getting her advice as to what she thought my best option was. Well, not only did she tell me to put a price tag on this valuable information, but she even advised me to charge triple what I am selling this for today. Reason being, the information revealed is so threatening to the pharmaceutical companies that it would be too risky to have this information made so public. Therefore, by charging more, it would ensure that it would not be made a public affair because it would be limited to a smaller group of people. In other words, unless you were rich, you couldn't be healthy. Now, initially, this is what I was going to do. However, I felt way too guilty. That's why I am going against actual legal advice and my better judgment and only charging a small fraction of what I have been advised to. I am only charging $37 for this extremely vital information, which all herpes sufferers should know. I felt this was a fair amount that wasn't out of reach for the average person, but at the same time wasn't going to saturate the public. Think of all the money you spent on doctor visits, prescription drugs, over-the-counter ointments, fly-by-night snake oil remedies. It's a lot, isn't it? And sadly, you have nothing to show for it because you're still watching this video. So again, for just $37, you'll learn the only treatment that can finally control the real cause of herpes. In just days, you'll feel more energy than you've had in years, and in just a few short weeks, you'll start seeing an enormous difference in how you look and feel. The more I witnessed these life-altering results from using this simple therapy, the more I shared the secret with other people who also needed it, who then also went on to change their lives. If you still have doubts, I'll take the risks for you. If at any time within the next 60 days of purchase you're not completely satisfied with everything found on your 1-minute herpes care guide, simply let me know and I'll return your purchase price immediately and in full. No questions asked. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. No hidden clauses, asterisks, or small print. And if you're worried about the safety of your personal data, don't be. Your purchase is made through a trusted third-party vendor, ClickBank. Their reputation of protecting and securing the personal information of their customer is exemplary. So what are you waiting for? Click the button below and get your instant access. You're literally just minutes away from the only method that guarantees your total care of herpes for life.